questions on our YouTube channel. For right now, though, we are only doing questions and comments on our Facebook page. Not just the Fox 19 Facebook page, but also my Facebook page at Ethan Emery WX, where if, again, questions, comments, be more than happy to answer those during the time of this broadcast. Again, we do this every day at 6 p.m. on Saturdays and Sundays. So, as I always promise, we'll do within the first few minutes, we're going to do tonight's forecast, tomorrow's forecast, and the 7-day forecast. There are some updates compared to yesterday's 19atSIX, so we'll go ahead and get started on that. So we go into tonight's forecast. Temperatures will dip down into the mid-60s here across the Fox 19 Now viewing area. Temperatures will be, again, around 65 degrees or so, and with mostly clear conditions. We go into the day on Monday, though. We turn up the heat. A little bit of humidity, but nothing that's going to be unbearable by any means. But it'll be hot, no doubt. Actual temperature of 92 degrees. And that 7-day forecast, we are looking at temperatures going down a little bit on Tuesday because of cloud cover primarily. There's also the chance for some evening showers and thunderstorms. Wednesday, we're looking at rain, thunder, breezy conditions, and wind gusts on Wednesday could exceed 30 miles per hour. Temperatures will be a little bit cooler, too, because of the cloud cover. We go into Thursday, we are looking at temperatures in the low 80s with some lingering clouds, but eventually becoming sunny later in the day. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday right now look beautiful with sunshine, but it'll get warmer. Friday, 87. By Sunday, 92 degrees. So as promised, we do that within the first few minutes, so it's 6:03 now. There's the 7-day forecast. Now we'll begin to go a little bit of a deeper dive into what we can expect here over the next several days. In fact, we'll go ahead and look beyond the 7-day forecast with the temperature outlooks and precipitation outlooks as well. So we'll begin with radar and take a look at the fact that things are pretty quiet here across the region. You love to see that. And you'll love to see the sweeping arm of our radar. You can see right here, this little arm here. When it moves a bit faster, that means there's going to be the detection of perhaps some rain. The National Weather Service offices usually turn those on to be a little bit faster for that. But it's a slow-moving arm, meaning there's no rain to track, so they're keeping it nice and quiet in that regard. So when it comes to looking at radar and satellite from a national view, we'll go ahead and zoom in here, or I should say widen this out, to show you all the rain down here from Tropical Storm Beryl. It is beginning to strengthen, and it could become a hurricane before it makes landfall in Texas come Monday morning. And once it makes landfall, we'll have a much better determination as to where that center of the low pressure is going to be with the remnants of Beryl as it makes its way into the Ohio Valley. There's still some questions, but we do have the updated forecast for you to see what we could expect here in this region. So right now, temperatures are very warm. In fact, they're exceeding what we forecasted yesterday. It's 87 here this hour. Actually, no, we had a high of, I believe, 89 today. So we're okay. We're doing fine. 87 degrees here this hour. My days are all over the place. It's my Friday, so I've got a lot of things on my mind getting planned for my weekend, getting some stuff done I need to get taken care of. But we do have today, if you're getting some stuff taken care of yourself, looking great. No Sunday scaries here. We've got some very pleasant weather out there right now, mostly sunny, and again, 87. Another look on our Newport Levee camera, looking over towards GAPP. Despite the Reds getting swept by the Detroit Tigers, we are at least getting winning views, if you want to think that way. Think positively, right? Tower camera also looks pretty nice out there. Mount Auburn camera also looks pretty good, although the screen's going to take a moment to load. Looking off to the north and east towards East Walnut Hills, it is, again, a pretty nice view for all these locations, and also our Turfway Park camera. Try to highlight all these views because we've got to show them off, right? But today, it was pretty nice out there. 88 was the observed high at CVG, a morning low of 63. Of course, no rain in sight for us today. We eventually see rain, though, by Tuesday evening. So this morning, we were in those lower 60s, even a few upper 50s over towards Richmond, Indiana. Today's high is the mid to upper 80s, and right now we're still in the mid to upper 80s, and dew points still manageable in the low 60s. This time of year, dew points in the low 60s is a positive with that. Now, kind of like how we discussed yesterday for what it was earlier this morning, there is a potential for maybe some patchy valley fog, but it does not appear to be of any major concern or widespread issues for the morning commute for Monday. So there could be some patchy fog, and this model is particularly over the Licking River Valley. So that's something we have to monitor for folks in northern Kentucky. You can see the Ohio River could see a little bit of patchy fog, but we're not looking at this to be too dense. We're not looking at this to be of, again, major concern. So tonight's temperatures, again, dipping down into the mid 60s. And once the graphic wants to load here, it's running a little bit slow today. We got a low temperature of 65, and then for Monday, a high of 92 degrees. Okay, we'll take a pause here, take a look at our Facebook pages and see if we have any questions or comments, and then we'll begin to go forward with discussions of Beryl as well as the rest of the work week here into the tri-state. So again, we'll start with the Fox 19 Facebook page, and then we'll look at my Facebook page. I'll have to do it on my phone. On my phone. Man, I'm looking forward to my weekend, that's for sure. All right, we've got a couple of comments here. Molly asks, hello, Ethan. Wow, another hot day. How bad will we get the remnants from the hurricane? Not a hurricane yet, tropical storm, but the forecast does make it become a hurricane, Category 1. But for us, we're actually getting further and further away from the center of that remnant low pressure system as it makes its way through here. And the impacts from it, they've changed since yesterday, what we discussed. So we're looking at some moderate rain with this, also an increase in winds, and also the potential for maybe a few funnels. I'll elaborate on that here in a moment. Dana says, hello, Ethan. You do a great job. Appreciate it. Thank you. Really appreciate the kind words. Rachel asks, any tornado chances this week? And there's a small chance. And granted, that we're not looking at this to be anything of major concern, but there is a potential because we do have some spin in the atmosphere as this remnant of Beryl makes its way into the region. So we'll show you that in the forecast models in just a moment, but I want to look at my Facebook page, make sure I don't miss any of the folks that are there to ensure that we answer those questions as well. No comments there, so in that case, we will go ahead and go forward with what I want to show you. So I want to begin by showing you the current radar with this. So compared to last night, the winds have increased a little bit. It's kind of been stalled out. Winds were around 60 miles per hour yesterday during the 10 o'clock newscast. Now it's at 65 miles per hour wind. Pressure has gone down a little bit, so it is beginning to strengthen. Winds are moving, or it's actually moving out of the north, or to the north rather, at 12 miles per hour. So it's still moving its way up over towards the Lake Jackson area as we go ahead and take a look at that in the latest with the track. So again, winds are at 65 miles per hour, moving to the north-northwest. And you can see here on radar, you got these bands of moderate to heavy rain showing up on all the radar and satellite imagery. So what we'll do now is show you. It will strengthen very likely to a Category 1, makes landfall tomorrow morning. And then it's going to make its way towards the Houston metro area and then just east of the Dallas-Fort Worth metro. And it's going to pivot its way over towards the upper Mississippi River Valley into the lower Ohio River Valley. And that center track of the low, we call this the cone of uncertainty because in any forecast, the longer out you go, there's going to be uncertainty. That's just the science of meteorology. That's just how it goes. So the cone goes a little bit wider out as it gets closer to us. But models are trying to trend this center of the low further north. So the center of the low looks like it's going to be north of the tri-state. Yesterday we showed you one model that took the rain further north and west of here. I didn't agree with it at the time because there were still other conflicting data. And when you look at, kind of the scenarios often with these systems, it kind of curve their way further south. In this case, I've changed my opinion. I've changed my forecast to reflect the latest data as well as what this trend has been, consistently showing, in that it's going to bring more of the rain further north and west of the tri-state. So we're not looking as much of the heavy rain threat as previous days indicated. So we go into Wednesday, and that's when that center of the low is going to be in the region of the Fox 19 Now viewing area. So for us, what we'll do is we'll first show you the rainfall and the tropical wind gusts, and then that threat for maybe a few stronger storms. Can't rule that out entirely with this scenario. So a lot of heavy rain for folks into Texas. You can see on this particular forecast model, almost 5 inches of rain towards the Houston area. To the east of Dallas, could be up to 8 inches of rain there, even locally higher amounts than that. We go ahead and go forward in time. This is Tuesday evening. You can see over towards Arkansas, Little Rock, close to 2 inches there. Cape Girardeau, 2 inches of rain. Fort Smith into Arkansas-Oklahoma state line, more than 3 inches of rain. And that heavier rainfall amounts, again, has now pivoted further north and west. So you can see on this model over towards Fort Wayne, going from Gary, Indiana, down towards Indianapolis, and then crossing over towards west central Indiana into east central Illinois, pivoting downward through the Springfield area towards St. Louis, where the heaviest of rain is. For us, we'll still see, and I will say this is the highest number I've seen on model data. The rainfall we're going to be expecting here in the tri-state with the remnants of Beryl appear to be anywhere in the vicinity of a quarter to maybe an inch of rain. So this is a very optimistic number in a sense of more rainfall. For us, though, we will see strong wind gusts out of this system, and of course, with it being a Category 1 hurricane, winds will likely exceed 74 miles per hour. And this model does bring in winds upwards of 80, 90 miles per hour through the Houston area, up towards Galveston, into Dallas, some strong winds with this system. As it makes its way here, it's going to weaken. That's how it is. The remnant of Beryl is going to weaken as it makes its way towards the Ohio Valley. Still some strong winds with it, though. You can see kind of where the circulation is right here. Now this model has it further east. I don't buy quite this trend because everything has been kind of in the direction of further west. But we still have this spin. Even if it is further west, we're still going to have some spin in the area or the region. And that's going to allow for maybe a couple of stronger storms. And we'll show you that here in moments. Just got to get the graphic pulled up first. So let me go ahead and first show you the Storm Prediction Center's severe weather outlook. And then we'll look at the model data for the rain and more of a locale. So this is for Tuesday. You see the area shaded in green here. And what this is indicating is where that track of the low is going to be. When I say low, it's the center of the remnants of Beryl. At this point, it'll be what we call a remnant low. So the remnant low pressure system will make its way in this direction. And it's going to have this spin here. So as it's spinning, it's going to pull in moist, warm air. It's going to pull in some storm energy with it to give a little bit of spin in the atmosphere. And in these scenarios, there's a lot of uncertainty. You got to have all the things working together, kind of like how it was in the middle of last week when it came to the threat of stronger storms. It just didn't a lot of those cells did not quite have enough oomph to them to develop into what the original forecast was. Same scenario here. And it's only a marginal risk. I want to keep that in mind. It's only a level 1 out of 5. So we're not looking at this to be any kind of major threat or concern. In fact, we're on the northern fringe of this. Based on what I'm seeing, this could likely shift further south and west. However, any storm that develops on Tuesday evening in particular into Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, we are looking at the threat for maybe some locally heavy rainfall, maybe some gusty winds. And I put the emphasis here, a weak spin up. So we're not looking at this to be anything major. We're not looking at any kind of, long track tornado scenario. This will be one of those quick little spin ups, a minute or two, and then lift up at best. And the threat is extremely low, but it's not zero. That's why we're letting you know about this. No need to panic. No need to be concerned by any stretch. It's just something we'll have to monitor as we get closer towards Tuesday evening and a Tuesday night. Now, based on what I'm seeing, I don't see much of a threat with that. But in these scenarios, you can't quite rule it out. So I was talking with Steve Horsemeyer earlier, and because he was wanting to know if this should be a first alert weather day or not. And I'm not saying that to be the case because A, the trend has been showing that storm energy further to the south and west, and B, the spin scenario in this is not as impressive as what it looked like earlier this morning that prompted the marginal risk with that. So again, Monday's dry. We go into Tuesday. Tuesday starts off dry. I want to emphasize that. Tuesday, though, will be a cloudy day. That's going to limit any storm energy over top of us already. But it's going to be hot. It's going to be a little humid on Tuesday. And the cells that develop Tuesday, late afternoon and evening, could have that spin, could have that heavy rain, could have those strong straight line winds. That being said, this model is actually pretty gracious in terms of showing any rain. Other models don't have rain until after sunset Tuesday. This one does show one little cell as we go into just before sunset, and then we go to Tuesday night, and then there's that outer band making its way through. And when it comes to the whole spin thing we're talking about with the threat of an isolated, brief, weak spin up, really want to emphasize that. They usually occur in these little bands here. And I will say this model brings it closer to us versus out further west. So we are looking at that to be the potential in this. Now again, we're not looking at this to be of major concern. It's not a first alert weather day. We're not looking at a slight risk of severe weather. It's just a marginal risk according to the Storm Prediction Center. And in these kind of scenarios, it's going to be primarily the situation of heavy rain and strong straight line winds. And even looking at the data, the Storm Prediction Center has this for Tuesday evening, the greater chances are actually Wednesday. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And there's also a lot of uncertainty because once this system makes landfall, then we'll have a lot more data to work with and kind of pinpoint where the track of that center of the low is going to be. Regardless, though, I think Wednesday is going to be the day where we're looking at the best odds for heavy rain, damaging winds, and maybe a spin-up threat. But either way, though, the spin-up threat is the lower end of the heavy rain and straight line winds. You don't want to get too caught up in the total tornado talk. I mentioned this last week. If I was concerned, I would let you know. I'm only telling you this because it's on the table, but it's not a really strong risk, if you will. So Wednesday morning, we've got rain, we've got thunderstorms, we've got strong winds increasing for Wednesday morning. Wednesday afternoon, we've got some strong winds coming in with this remnant low. We've got thunderstorm activity in the area. So a few stronger storms, can't rule that out for Wednesday, not only in the morning, but also in the afternoon. And then Wednesday night, things will inevitably dry out. So here is the rainfall. This is one model, and I agree with this model. General trend is anywhere from 1/4 of an inch of rain to 1 inch of rain. Highest rainfall totals further west. Lower rainfall totals further east. And I'll show you the wind model data here in a moment, but I'll look at some of the comments. I'm sure I've got some comments after discussing the whole spin-up threat. Okay, Pat says, I hope no tornadoes. Me too. You don't need them. Molly says, thanks for keeping us updated. Boho says, appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate you as well for watching. Cheyenne says, so for Tuesday, severe storm risk, is that for the whole day or the evening? The evening. Tuesday morning is going to be fine. Tuesday morning, we're looking at just a lot of cloud cover and pretty warm conditions, humid conditions as well. Jeff says, hello, good evening. Good evening to you, Jeff. So that's all the comments on our Fox 19 Facebook page. We'll jump here to my Facebook page. I got 3 comments there. Clarine says, hello, Ethan. Hey. Sarah, my mentor in college. Hello, Ethan. Hello to you, Sarah. Hope you're doing well up in Michigan. Mandy says, hello. Hope you're doing well as well, Mandy. So that's all the comments and questions on our Facebook pages. So we'll go ahead and continue here. So again, the scenario here we're looking at is the remnants of Beryl moving further north and west, so we're getting a little bit less rainfall than what you might have seen the last couple of days from various meteorologists here in the tri-state. So we're looking at less rainfall, but the winds have increased a little bit. Now, we're not talking about Ike winds. Ike was a very specific thing. All the right ingredients came together, and meteorologists did see that a couple of days in advance. But in this case, this will just be winds that'll be, in the case of 30 miles per hour plus. So no issue with winds all the way through Wednesday morning. So Wednesday morning, you can see here, already 11 a.m., gusts close to 30 miles per hour. Now this model takes it up a notch Wednesday afternoon. So it shows perhaps the indication of wind gusts close to 40 miles per hour. Now this is a little bit aggressive compared to other models, but I just want to show you that at this point, the threats, I think, for us Tuesday evening through Wednesday will be locally heavy rain and perhaps some strong straight line winds. There is some spin, so a funnel cloud, a weak spin up tornado that would be on the ground for less than a minute would be the only other concern. It's a lower threat, mind you, a lower threat. But the primary, I don't even want to call them concerns, but anything we could see Tuesday evening through Wednesday would be strong gusty winds and locally heavy rain. And I just showed you the rainfall map, anywhere from 1/4 of an inch to an inch. Mind you, the areas that see an inch would be in a short period of time, so could be some runoff, could be some ponding roadways, those kind of impacts. When it comes to the winds, when you have wind gusts between 30 and 40 miles per hour, that could create, some limbs down. Maybe if you have your American flag still up around your yard, those could be toppled over, but not enough to create anything widespread of damage. Maybe some localized power outages, but again, that's not something I foresee in this scenario as it stands right now. Okay, so that was the rainfall and the winds. Now let's look at the humidity, because that's another thing that we're going to need to discuss is the humidity, and then also the temperature is going to be in the 90s, not just on Monday. There are additional days we've added to be over 90 degrees. So humid air, it's going to steadily incline for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be quite sticky. We're looking at dew points in excess of 70 degrees. So really humid air for you Tuesday night through Wednesday. We go into Thursday, dew points get a little more manageable. Now it's still humid, but dew points in the 60s and mid-60s is much more manageable compared to 70s and mid-70s here in the area. So we show you the forecast model again. So again, Beryl's going to make landfall tomorrow morning along the Texas coast. A lot of heavy rain for those folks in Texas, Texarkana, up towards the Memphis area, the upper Mississippi River Valley. And then as it makes its way in this direction, notice where that band of the heaviest of rain is, all through here. That heavier rain is going to make its way up from Fort Wayne through Springfield, Illinois, down towards Springfield, Missouri. For us, this model is really overdoing this. But there will be the chance for some showers and thunderstorms that develop. We have this flow of Gulf moist air. You have the energy of the remnants of this low. And mind you, it's going to be weakening as it gets closer. So it's going to have some of these things to work with. So that's why the Storm Prediction Center has us under a marginal risk. So we could see a few of these cells make their way to our south and western counties that could prompt some strong winds, some heavy rain. You might have some folks spot funnels. But in this scenario, I'm not foreseeing this to be of a major concern or something to be overly aware of. So in this scenario, it's just kind of a wait and see thing. I hate to say that, but once Beryl makes landfall, we get some land data to work with, then we'll be much more concrete into what the risks are going to be and if we need to increase those risks or decrease those risks. Right now, my money's on decreasing those risks, primarily because the fact that more of your energy is going to be closer to the low, so it's going to be much further south as opposed to further north. So we go into Wednesday, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Now this is going to be where I think if we have any strong storms, it's going to be Wednesday, because we have that low pressure just to our west and northwest. We're going to have some of that storm energy to work with. Tuesday's going to be pretty warm. Wednesday is going to start off warm in the 70s. Cloudy skies going to keep those temperatures warm. So you have the warmer air, you have the humidity, of course, from all this rain. And, of course, you have some of the energy with the low. So could there be a couple of stronger storms Wednesday morning? Sure. Could there be a couple stronger storms Wednesday afternoon? Also, looking at that to be a possibility. And again, the main threats with this would be heavy rain and some strong gusty winds. I don't suspect a severe weather outbreak. I don't suspect there to be any long-track tornado situations. At best, when I say at best, I mean at the strongest intensity I see right now, it's going to be a scenario where we're going to be looking at maybe a few strong storms, and maybe one or two of those could have a funnel or a very brief spin up. But right now, that's not my main concern. My main concern with this would just be locally heavy rain and some strong gusty winds, even outside of storms on Wednesday. So that's my thoughts on Beryl. Hopefully you digested that. Hopefully it made sense. Hopefully you can forgive some of the uncertainties that we are working with in this scenario. Just because when it comes to forecasting, especially tropical systems or even low pressure systems, when it comes to snow forecasts or severe forecasts, is you got to have some land data to work with. Granted, when it comes to tropical systems, they can do a pretty good job at forecasting at the National Hurricane Center because there's a lot of satellite data to work with. You have the planes going in, getting observations from that. But when it comes to impacts we see here in the tri-state, you got to have some land data to work with. So once it makes landfall, we'll get some of that land data. We'll be able to have a much better idea as to where exactly it's going to track. But right now, the trend continues to be to the north and west of the tri-state, bringing more heavier rainfall further off to the north and west towards the Indianapolis metro area as opposed to here in the tri-state. But it could still bring us some heavy rain, some strong gusty winds, and of course some thunderstorms. So that 7-day forecast behind me kind of reflects that. And the temperatures will be a little bit cooler because of the clouds and the rain. So got a high of 83 on Wednesday. Thursday, partly cloudy and a high of 82 with morning lows in the mid-60s. I will say Thursday and Friday, comfortable air mass over top of us. Humidity, manageable. Still a little humid, but not bad. Next weekend, though, we are beginning to see increased humidity, increased heat. And with that, the 90s look to be trending upward for the following week. So Monday's high is 92. Tuesday's 88. Again, a little bit lower 80s for both Wednesday and Thursday because of the remnants of Beryl with all the cloud cover. Friday temperatures begin to get a little bit warmer, 87. Back to 90s by Saturday, continues into Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. That was weird. Here's Monday, 94. Tuesday, 93. So, and then even into the middle of not this upcoming week, but the following week, still looking at the low 90s. So temperatures very likely to be well above normal here in the Ohio Valley. So this is from the Climate Prediction Center, and this is their temperature outlook. You'll see a lot of red. I'm just telling you that ahead of time. And here you go. So an increase of likelihood of temperatures being well above normal across the Ohio Valley and Appalachia region. Again, I showed you those temperatures will be in the 90s for highs and lows likely in the 60s and 70s. And when it comes to rainfall with enough humidity, there could be some pop-up variety showers and storms, not for next weekend, but for the following week. So not tomorrow, but next Monday, the following Monday, there could begin to see the chance for a few pop-ups. So that's why they have this very light green shade, although the odds of it are not great right now of anything widespread. So I know we really need the rainfall, especially for a lot of folks over to the south. Northern Kentucky did not get a lot of rain out of those systems last week, as opposed to some of the locations like Hamilton, Wilmington. I know they had a lot of rain in those locations. So we'll turn on the radar of Beryl behind me, and while that's going on, I'll take a look at some of the comments and questions on our Facebook page. Get a swig of water, too. Patrice says, hi, Double E. That is all. Jeff says, hope no spin-ups at all. And landed on your house. Yeah, I remember you were sharing that with me, Jeff, and thank you for sharing that here on the Facebook page. I hope so either. I mean, as a meteorologist, I enjoy, or I shouldn't say I enjoy, but it's thrilling to see storms develop. Mother Nature, you're kind of in awe of what can happen in the atmosphere. That being said, experiencing enough storms, seeing the damage that comes out of it, seeing the lives that it could impact as well as take away, unfortunately, it kind of gives you a different perspective. And, as much as I like to, watch storms, forecast them, see them in action, report them, you hate to see it. You don't want to see anyone have any damage of any kind. So I'm with you, Jeff. I don't want to see any spin-ups either. Okay, let's take a look at my Facebook page. No additional comments there. So, again, I am not too concerned right now when it comes to the risk for any severe weather this week. Again, if anything does get strong, it looks like it's going to be on Wednesday. Tuesday evening has that risk for a few stronger storms, although it's a very low risk. And based on the data I've seen, I think they're going to take that back further south and west of the tri-state. But Wednesday, I think there could be the odds of maybe some stronger wind gusts, some localized heavy rain, frequent lightning, and maybe a spin-up chance. Very low wind, one of those scenarios where I think you're going to have to, it's going to be, I would say, if anything happens in that regard, I think we'll see more funnels than we will see actual touchdowns. That's just my opinion on it. But I think there's going to be stronger winds that are straight line, and heavier rains could be the more concerning thing out of this, of any concern at all. So, again, not trying to downplay this too much, but I'm just not really impressed. And I'm trying to relay that to you. I'm not trying to hype things up. I don't want to hype things up. That's not what I do. And also why we don't have a first alert weather day for it. Plain and simple. Now, if new data comes in tomorrow, once it makes landfall and it suggests otherwise, then we'll start giving you those heads up. You know what I'm saying? But right now, I'm not overly concerned in that regard. So, that is, I think, we're going to conclude the 19atSIX. So, thank you all so much for joining us, and hopefully, got what you need, got what you needed, got what you wanted out of this 19atSIX. Again, not many major changes to the 7-day forecast. Of course, the biggest change, I'll say two big changes. A, the storm risk is the winds increasing for Wednesday. And secondly, Thursday and Friday look a lot drier now compared to what we showed you yesterday on 19atSIX. Of course, meteorologist Ashley Smith updated the forecast. She always does a fantastic job. Love working with her. But, we're just talking about focusing on Beryl for Tuesday evening through Wednesday night, really. And right now it looks like Wednesday morning and Wednesday afternoon could pose the risk for maybe a couple of stronger storms. But nothing of major concern, nothing that we haven't seen here before in the Fox 19 Now viewing area. So no one's else commented or had any questions on the Facebook page, so I think I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. Make a few more graphics, get ready for a 10 o'clock newscast tonight, and we are going on normal time. So you'll see me bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, as my grandma would say, at 10 o'clock with Courtney King and everyone in the sports department. The sports department has grown a lot. We've been expanding, and we've got Reagan, we've got Gabby, of course Joe and Jeremy. All are doing a great job getting stuff ready for the Bengals. It's coming up very soon, 9 more weeks until football. That was according to the Bengals Post this morning. But anyway, I'm rambling. So at this point, thank you for watching us on 19atSIX. Again, we're everywhere you stream. We're using YouTube more often now, and eventually you'll be able to chat on YouTube in addition to Facebook. But that'll do it. Thank you all so much for joining us. To 10 o'clock tonight, we got your latest news, weather, and sports headlines. All that stuff coming up at 10 o'clock. And if you want more details in this forecast, more specifics, I'll begin to get that uploaded here very shortly on fox19.com/weather. But again, thank you all so much for joining us here on the Sunday edition of 19 at 6.